Tonight, it's different than what maybe if you've been here on a Sunday morning. It's just a different feel. Tonight's a little bit more quiet and certainly feels a lot more heavy. And it should be. It should feel that way. Because tonight, we're gathered together to remember the moment when Jesus willingly gave up his life. That as we remember the cross, it wasn't a symbol of defeat. It was a place where the greatest act of love the world had ever seen. It was poured out. And so, Sunday we're going to celebrate the resurrection. We're going to celebrate together. But before we get there, before we rush to the resurrection, I just want to take these last few moments and just sit in the weight of Friday. To wrestle with what it means that the Son of God was crucified. The one that created life gave up his life. And if that feels intense, feels heavy, good, because it's supposed to. Because if you look back at human history, you'll find that this idea of sacrifice, it's always been a part of, and even many times been at the center of humanity's story. The people, humanity, we've always believed that something, and even at times someone, must be given up to make things right. Throughout history, and you can go across countless cultures, countless religions, that sacrifice was always central. It always had its place. Why? Because deep down, I believe that humanity has always known that something is broken, that something's not quite right, that something's then costly is required to fix it. I mean, think about the ancient world. People believed that the greatest way to get the attention of the gods was to give up something of great value, to give up something of significance. The greater the need, the greater the sacrifice. Right? If you needed rain for your crops, or you needed protection in battle, or if you were desperate for healing, you brought an offering, you brought a sacrifice, you brought something precious. And sometimes it was grain, or sometimes it was livestock. But we read, in other cultures and other religions, we read in human history, in extreme cases, sometimes a sacrifice of a human life was given. You gave something so that maybe, hopefully, it was enough to get something in return. And I get it, right? That sounds so dark. But there really was, at the end of the day, there was a logic behind it. That life being so precious, that maybe if you give up a life, that's got to be the most significant and costly thing that you can do, that you can give up. And certainly right here in our culture, in our day and age, we've moved past the altars, we moved past the idols. But I think that mindset still finds its way into our culture, into our lives. We live in a world that's full of striving. You, me, at times find ourselves striving to prove our worth, striving to earn other people's approval, striving to make things right with other people, even make things right with ourselves, and even at times, right, try to make things right with God. And then you think about most of the other world religions, they operate from a place that, hey, if you do enough, and if you give enough, and if you sacrifice enough, maybe then you'll be accepted. Right? If you do enough, if you sacrifice enough, well, maybe then you can be forgiven, or maybe then you can find a little bit of peace. But come on, Jesus steps onto the pages of history and he flips that script. Because at the center of our faith, it's not our sacrifice for God, it's God's sacrifice for us. That's a center of our faith. That Jesus didn't go to the cross because, we finally got our act together. He didn't die because finally we did something that made us worthy. He didn't die for people that were religious. No, he did what he did, and he gave up his life for the broken, for the rebellious, for the exhausted, for the hurting, for us. So the cross is this moment on that day where God came down to rescue us. And to me, what's so powerful about that moment, that Good Friday, is what Jesus didn't say. Because as Jesus hung there on the cross, he didn't say try harder or be better or clean yourself up or you got to earn this. He said 3 simple words. He said, it is finished. It is finished. That shame that maybe you're carrying right now, it is finished. That sin that you can't shake, it is finished. The burden that you might even feel this evening, the burden of wondering if you've maybe done enough, given enough, sacrificed enough. He says, it is finished. That all that striving, it is finished. All the separation, it is finished. The sacrifice, it is finished. Because at the cross, Jesus paid the price that no matter how hard you tried or how much you gave up, you and I can never pay. He took the punishment that you and I deserved. And he offered the kind of love that no matter how hard you tried or how much you gave up or how much you sacrificed, you could never earn. And so tonight we pause in what I would say is a little bit of that tension. And we sit in the stillness of this evening and we remember that Jesus, willingly entered into suffering for you and for me so that we could enter into life. And so this evening, as you leave this place, as we're dismissed, normally I'll say, hey, go and leave a lasting mark. Not tonight. I want you to walk out of here and I want you to reflect on those 3 words. Reflect on those 3 words that changed everything for you and for me. The 3 words as you go tonight are, it is finished.